Hi everyone. So let's wait a moment so everyone will join us from the waiting room and then we will start with the webinar. So I believe amount of the participants doesn't change a lot at the moment, but of course I will be happy if someone still join us. So let's start. Today we have our second user webinar, and this one is more about use cases and how exactly process automation works. So my name is Antonina Marques. I'm partner manager at Jobrouter, and I will be your moderator for today. But I believe you are more interested in our agenda and speakers for today. So first of all, we will have presentation from Romanian partner Skylink, and actually from Dan Benta. He will speak about one of the projects where they changed WhatsApp with Jobrouter. Another use case or success story will be from Poland, from EMSI. It will be presented by Jakub Widerek, and it will be about recruitment company. And the last slot of our agenda, but definitely not the least interesting one, will be about the PowerShift. If you have participated in our webinar yesterday, you already know some things about it, and you know that today we'll have demo. So it will be presented by our head of product development and product management, Romy Opitz, and I also included here Stefan Weimann, but he will support her with by answering questions that you can leave in the chat, and also maybe some technical parts. So actually, it is pretty simple here. I will stop sharing my screen because right now stage is yours. Then done.
Okay, thank you, Antonina. Let me share.
Yeah, please. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions, just write them into the chat and we will answer those. So yeah, done.
Yep. So it's working. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So the process is not a very complicated one in terms of technical, but it had a great impact to the customer. And this is something like not so usual that this client uh, sells JobRouter processes to own customers and own clients in different bids, in different contracts, but does not sell the license, it sells the process. And when they win a bid or when they win a new project, they come to us and ask us to develop a specific process for a specific customer. And in this direction, I want to present this process where first I will describe the environment, how our client works, and how our client works with own clients, and what was the need for this project, main issues that we managed to solve with this process, the setup area of the process itself, and main issues that arise during the implementation. And in some of the cases, we have no solution. So if you will have a solution in the end, you can always jump in. As the environment, our client has multiple clients from the merchandising area, and our client has multiple teams distributed around the county. around each county of the country, and they can cover the whole area of the country. And they have different contracts with different contractors to check and to respect the quality parameters when a product or a couple of products are displayed on shops, on shelves, on refrigerators, and so on and so on. So our client acts as an external auditor for own clients. So imagine that you have some supermarkets, I don't know, name it, all the supermarkets you know, and each key account has multiple supermarkets in different areas of the country. And when you go in the supermarket, you see the refrigerator, you see the shelves, you see the products arranged there, and they need to check if the contract is respected and the products are displayed on a specific shelf, on a specific refrigerator, it is out of stock or no, on a specific numbers and so on. They have different parameters. So main issues we had to solve were that they asked us to provide them a process and to move from WhatsApp groups to a structured and centralized application, because they had more than 1,000 WhatsApp groups. And in each group, there were a project manager, brand ambassador, a team lead, merchandisers, and so on and so on. And all the visits they paid to the supermarkets and to their customers. They uploaded their photos, they uploaded their incidents, they uploaded their it is out of stock. That supermarket in 2 days, that supermarket will be out of stock, and so on and so on. And they also asked us to had them to improve the process, and they needed to trigger some actions when there were some issues in the supermarket. For example, they finished the beer stock, they finished the juice stock, they finished the, I don't know, some medicine stock on a specific customer, and a group of users should be alerted, and the delivery should be as soon as possible. And in this area, they had more than 100K visit per year in the country, in the area of supermarkets, and they needed a high level of customization of the questionnaire. So each visit, the user who pays the visit had to fill a questionnaire with specific questions, and this questionnaire and those specific questions differs from a client to another, because you have you need to collect different parameters, and you need to have an input when you go and when you check, I don't know, beer, and you have a different parameters when you check peanuts or popcorn or I don't know, other products. So those were the main issues that we need to solve. And in the setup, in the administration, we decided to give to the customer a full level of, let's say, customization, and to set up their own clients, to set up their own questionnaire, because one of our main, let's say, we have two main requests when we start the project. We will have a single point of contact at the customer and at the developer, and we need to we will allow the customer to have a high level of customization of the app, because we are not so interested in offering support and maintenance for the application. We are interested in developing new processes and to allow the customer to do the customization and to adapt the process for another client, and so on. Now our client uses the application in a relation with own clients, each client of our client has an own list of items in portfolio. So some of them are in beer industry, some of them in juice, in pharma, and so on. Each client of the client has multiple location contracted. So they sell their products in different supermarkets in different areas and so on. At each visit, so according to the contracts they have with their clients, they need to pay a visit each day, a visit each week, a visit each month. It depends. But at each visit, the merchandiser needs to check if the products are correct in the supermarket, if there is out of stock or not, if they need to jump in and solve a specific issue, and they need to upload pictures. This was the huge issue. I never imagined that app can upload somewhere around, I don't know, 10K pictures simultaneously on a server. The customer asked us why it's not working, and why their 1 tera is full in 2 days. But I will explain what we managed to do. And they also had to define some thresholds. For example, if they have a questionnaire of 10, 12, 11, I don't know, questions, and 70% of the questionnaire is with no, or it is below a threshold, additional manager should be notified and should check a specific supermarket, specific shop, and so on. So basically, I try to translate the forms because it is in Romanian and I put it values in English. So the first section is related to the product, what type of product each customer sells. The second table is related to the out of stock reasons. So if they find out of stock in a specific location, they need to fill out one or multiple reason why they are out of stock. Then they need to upload some photos, and the photos are on different categories, and they can define what categories of photos they can store. And then are the questions related to the questionnaire. So each visit, they need to go and to fill the questionnaire, and they have yes, no, or not applicable answer. It will be a drop-down list, or they will have a free text where they will describe something or what they found in the supermarket. So this is the setup related to our client visit to own clients. And they also have an additional questionnaire that the client, the producer, pays the visit to the shop and to the supermarket, and they need to fill their own questionnaire. And also in this area, they have multiple sections. They can activate or deactivate the section according to the need of the client. They can define multiple questions and describe them. And they can define additional triggers if the office should be notified if the limit, if the threshold is below a predefined parameter. And if it is mandatory to upload or no the photos when they pay the visit to the shop. This is the setup for a single, let's say, location. Imagine that for a specific supermarket, I don't know, name it Kaufland, Lidl, Aldi, I don't know, name it whatever you want. The supermarket, for a supermarket, they have hundreds of locations, and they need to visit all those locations, and each location is assigned on a specific user that can pay the visit to that shop and fill the question. The process is that each agent is assigned on a client, and on multiple locations that he can or she can visit. At each visit, user can upload photos and fill a form according to predefined question the environment setup, so what our customer defined in the questionnaire. Photos are stored in a file repository so that the client of the client can log in into the application and check the photos. So our client pays the visit, uploads the photos of the visit, and the producer can access the file repository and can ask reports to see how the visit was, and to see how the products are arranged on shelves, on refrigerators, and anything there. So this is mainly the process, and this is an example of the form that when employees of our client pays the visit at the shops, they need to fill this form. So we track the location because the main issue was that the agent didn't pay the visit to the shop. They stayed at home and they uploaded photos made last week or photos made 1 month ago. And each shop has a location, a GPS location. And according to the location, we track and we can say that this agent filled the form and uploaded the photos when he or she was there in the area of the shop or in another city. So it is a tricky information for the customer. And if I'm the employee, if I'm the agent, I pay the visit to a shop. I select the shop where I am, and automatically the form is filled with what my head office defined in the questionnaire, and I need to fill the details there. I need to answer the question. I need to select yes, no, not applicable, fill the text array area, upload photos, and to assign the photos on different categories, and to define if there are products that are out of stock. So from the list of products from the portfolio, those are the products that are out of stock. And from that, I don't know, they collect the data from all around the world, the country, and they go with the orders into the system that they use for the logistics and for delivery. And I don't know what is the second process after this. So this is the form each employee, when they pay the visit and check the shop, should fill. This is the form that their own managers need to fill when they go and they visit the shop, on different categories, on different let's say parameters they need to collect from the platform, and according to the threshold and what they found in the shop, they can decide to apply some penalties or not according to the contract. I don't know what is the legal procedure, because in most of the cases, you know that a producer sells the product to key accounts at the same level of price, but they apply some discounts that is paid monthly or yearly according to the turnover, according to the number of shops, according to different parameters. So basically, each producer sells the product to all the key accounts at the same unit price, but according to the contract, they give them discounts yearly, monthly, weekly. I don't know what is the regularity of the check. And main issues we had during the implementation. This is, I think, the most interesting part. What we managed to solve was that we had a huge number of photos attached. So imagine 100 agents on the field, and each agent uploads 20 photos, each photo made with 10 megapixel camera. And they hit send. And the email is not sent, and the supervisor does not. They also wanted to notify the supervisor and to send it to the supervisor the photos. So look, I visited that location. I don't know, I have 5 employees in my area. I'm the manager in my area. And each time my employee goes and checks a shop, I'm notified on the email and I receive the photos on the email to check the visit. So we had these cases where each visit, the merchandiser uploaded more than 50 mega photos and the email was not delivered because limit was exceeded. And we used a JavaScript to resize the photos. And we defined a predefined size. I don't know, 2K or something like that. I don't know, 2 megapixels or something like that. And they upload the photos. And after they hit send, we resize the photos and we deliver the emails with the resized photos. And in this area, after we implemented this, we reduced the amount of photos from 1 tera per month to less than 1 giga per month. So it was a huge impact, this resizing of the photo. But you know, we cannot resize the photo on the phone of the end user. We can resize the photo after we receive the photos on the server. Photos are resized on the server and email is delivered as notification with the resized photos. So it goes on the first not solved issue, because even if in Romania we do not have internet connection problems, the internet goes very good, the bandwidth is limited to 1 giga per second. So the bandwidth of the server where JobRouter is installed is limited to 1 giga per second. But we have cases when an employee who uploads photos need to wait a couple of seconds till the traffic before ends and he or she can upload the photo. So we do not have a tool or an idea, or I don't think that there is possible to do the resize of the photo direct on the end user phone. Only if they go and set up their cameras and so on and so on, but I don't think that is possible. So those were the solved first point and the not solved first point. The second solved point was that a manager, I don't know, a C-level, a PM or something like that, they are interested to see from a specific cluster, from a specific city, from a specific area, from a specific supermarket and so on. They need to see a report with all the visits from, I don't know, last week, last month, this year. So they have periods of time. They go and select. They have different selection criteria, or they want to see all the visits made by their team during this month or during last month. So the idea is that from the pool of visits that were performed, they select hundreds of visits, and they need to see a report with the visits, who visited, when, location, and so on and so on, how many items were out of stock, and so on and so on. But the main parameter is that they want in a Word file to have a photo. So imagine that we generate a report with up to, I don't know, 1,000 photos, 1,000 visits. Each visit has a photo, and we need to put the photo in a Word file, and the Word file the template to look pretty. And in this area, we used the same library, the same PHP library. And what we do is we identify all the photos from the server, we copy all the photos in a temporary location, we run the script and resize all the photos in a small dimension. We rotate the photo because most of the photos are portrait and we need to see them landscape. We collect all the photos from the server. We copy all the photos in a temporary location. All the photos are resized on a small size. Then we copy all the photos back in the JobRouter files with the same name, but with an underscore copy or something like that. Then we update into the process table the link and the attachment link to that photo, and we put the link to the copy, and then the Word file is generated and sent to the customer on the email, and see the Word template, the Word generated into the platform. And we've tested with, I think that 2,500 photos were the maximum report we've tested. And the report was generated in less than 2 minutes. Where up to 1 minute was the copy procedure to copy all the files in a specific folder, then to resize and put the files back. Because when you copy 3, 4, 5 giga in a temporary file, it takes a lot, but after you resize, you will have 10 mega and you will copy back very, very, very easy. So we managed to solve this issue again. And what we didn't solve, even if I think that my colleague Raresh analyzed more than me this JobRouter app, the JobRouter app. We have cases where we need to force the user to take the photo, and we do not want to allow the user to upload from library the photo. And the JobRouter app, I don't think that we can do anything there, but I think that we have a feature request. Because I know that you can go in your settings, in your phone settings, and do not allow the user to upload and to access the photos from the library. But if they go and allow to upload from the library, they can select JobRouter and upload from the library, because they want to force the merchandisers who goes to the market and checks to take the photo now. Do not upload the photo from a library, because they also have cases where one merchandise goes to multiple supermarkets and they send the photos one to another. Look, this is your supermarket. This is a photo from mine. Upload in your supermarket because it is the same. It is the same name. It is the same infrastructure. So this is one of the, let's say, their highest wishes to implement and to force the user effectively to take the photo there. This is why we also implemented the coordinates of the where the user is when uploads and fills the form. So in this area, we don't have a maybe Romy will offer us a solution how we can really force the user to take the photo and not upload the photo from existing library, using the web client and using the JobRouter app. And basically this was my presentation. Look, it's 5000 or 4000.
Yeah.
Perfectly match, and never looked over the presentation. Only when I created a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's really nice. We don't have any questions in the chat, but I see one hand raised from the participants. I'm not sure. Does it mean that you have a question? Probably yes. So I will allow you to speak, and I would like to hear what you want to ask. Okay, probably he's not there anymore. Couldn't, not sure. But I will just say that please write your question in the chat and we'll see. Okay, we'll have another message in the chat. You can use the free data to check when photo was taken.
Yeah, we try to do, and we use a library to put the timestamp on the photo when the photo was taken. But you know that the users are very creative and they do photo on the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try this. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Then now, Jakob, you can take over and tell about your use case success story.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, I will share my screen. This is the one desktop. Could confirm that you can see it. Is it visible?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sorry that it's running on its own. I have to stop it. Okay, maybe like this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you a process which is also not a very complicated one. Dan mentioned that the process is not that complicated in terms of technical issues. I think even though he mentioned some technical details which I won't be able to share with you because I wasn't the developer on this project. I'm not a developer anyway. So I will focus on the business side of the process. But even though the process is rather simple in terms of the logic, and it doesn't use rocket science to do things. I think it's a perfect example of when you have precisely adjusted automations that can benefit to the client. And I'm also a large believer of approaching projects with smaller, even MVP approach, and then expanding the project and focusing on the time to market and giving the client the best ROI he can have from the initial investment. So I will show you a process that we implemented in a temporary workers agency. It's a recruitment process focused mostly on foreign employees, candidates, basically. So, of course, recruitment is something that happens in every company. Here we have a specific one because this is a high volume process. It means that in the company you have over 20,000 people per year going through the process. So it's a highly scalable company that has to deal with the process that is based on people. So and the market they're in is very competitive, as I think any brokerage. So they have to provide the best employee experience they can, to be successful in the market, to be competitive. So they came up to us with a couple of challenges regarding the process. First of all, the volume of the process was rather high. The additional one is that for foreign candidates, you have additional documentation, you have permits, you have visas, you have some translations, and you have to handle this all on paper because by default, the foreign candidates don't have like an electronic signature that is applicable in the country they're trying to find work in. So you have to handle this on paper. The number of documents is being significantly larger than for any employee from this country. Then you have to grant access to all of this documentation to the employee in the meantime and after being recruited. And even if you don't start to work with the candidate, you still have to give him the access to the files for a period of time. And then there are Polish regulations for the personal e-file, which doesn't make it easier to manage those documents because you have regulations that you have to apply on how to categorize the documents. So you have to have strictly defined if this document is like a pre-recruitment phase, or this is employee phase, or after ending the working with the candidate. So again, you have to comply with all of those regulations. And first of all, we identified the crucial, let's say, bottlenecks in the process where you have the most manual work, and we tried to assess those. This process has been launched like 3 months ago. So we're still in the phase where we get some statistics, but the client communicates that basically the initial investment probably already has been returned in the and what they have in the process performance. So I will run through the process like very shortly and pinpoint those points that made it possible. Okay, so the process starts with with gathering leads. It's all in Polish, of course. It's Polish/Ukrainian because it's the most used language in the process. So we have lead gathering. This starts with a very simple form. It aims to be as quick as possible, as simple as possible. So basically, what you need here, it's also used on a mobile device. I have the screenshot here. But what you have to provide is basically a name, some contact details like telephone number and an email, and a scan of the passport. And then for verification, the scan of the passport, we use our IDR system because the requirement was that all of the solutions that will be implemented will be an on-prem solution, so no cloud solutions allowed. So we use our IDR to extract data from the documents. You have very different forms of providing those documents. You have like clean scans, but you also have, as you can see, some photos taken on a table or on a rug or something like this. And this, of course, is a part where we verify that the data is correct and the lead is actually a human being, not some set of data that just someone put in, right? Okay, and then we go further. And at this point, it gets interesting because what we do, we provide the candidate with a link sent through a text message to the Gibraltar external form. As you can see, we have a public start form within the process. So we ask them to fill out the forms with the information. It's a rather long form. I couldn't fit it in a screen, but so we ask them to put some information again, even though we have them in, like I said, and the goal is to verify those. So they provide their identification number, for example, and so on. And the main goal here is also to provide some acknowledgements that they read the regulations and they read some instructions, and for us to be able to prepare documents. So we get the information, we generate some files from this, and then it's the main challenge that came with the process. So we have the data, so of course it's already filled out, it should be already filled out. We have the data from the candidate, We have all the information, and at this point, we will have tons and tons of documents that we will have to assign manually, like physically. And those candidates come from different locations, and the company itself has different locations all over Poland and sometimes abroad. And you never know where the candidate will be serviced, in which location, in which physical location. There is a part here that assigns the candidate to a, they call it a project. It's basically because the location when they will be serviced, and all the formalities will take place, are usually somewhere near where they will work in the end. So it locates where this document should be signed. And then what we do basically is we generate all of those documents already filled out using the job router native job PDF function, but with a little tweak. So we mark every document we created with a QR code. So we have an identification for each document that we created. And then it is being sent to the like manager, a local manager that will handle the recruitment process and the signing process. And then they print it out at the location. Then they sit with the candidate, they fill out the document, they don't fill out the documents, they are already filled, but they sign the documents, and then they put this on the scanner. And it doesn't matter what is the location, what is the scanner they put it on. We catch the document. We know that this specific document is for this person. It's this kind of document. We basically know what the document is. And then we take it. Of course, there's also part which I won't be able to show you. It would take too much time of handling the physical documents, confirming that they have been sent to the headquarters after signing and so on. But at this point, they can be processed, and the process can move forward without waiting for the documents to come to the headquarters. And at this point, we build the personal e-file. We start to build a personal e-file of the candidate, both for the company to be able to very easily find required documents, but also for the candidate, for the employee, for the future, for them to have one place that they have all of the documents they get access to. They can, in the future, we will add some functionalities like starting a new process. So, for example, you have a visa that is expiring, they can initiate the process that the visa has to be prolonged, or some medical permits. Again, they have to be renewed at some point. And of course, there are many other processes that start from the personal e-file that will be handled at this point. But just regenerating those documents and knowing that or covering the need that those documents will be signed, like I mentioned, in different locations. We never know where, but the system handles the signing process, and well, basically it shortens the process like 2-3 times in terms of what we saw before implementing the process. So yeah, that was like a quick run through the process. Much quicker than done, but hope that you maybe have some questions or comments on what we provided.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Haven't seen any questions right now, but maybe we will still get something. But I believe we can already go further and see the presentation of from Romy about PowerShift and how it works. So
Okay.
yeah.
Then I will start. Thank you. So thanks, Jakub, and then as well, you always have the coolest use cases that are, you know, not about invoices, because that gets quite boring after a while. But remember you showing some use cases before, and they were always very interesting. So let me share my screen. This one. Okay, so I don't have a customer use case today. Instead, I have a live demo of a product. Let me start the presentation. This one, and of course, it's always the wrong monitor. So okay, so I have mostly live presentations. There are some slides as well, just for an introduction, but most of it will be a live demonstration of a new module of JobRouter, new because it was introduced last year, called JobMind, powered by Parashift. And I will start with some slides. So that's me. Again, you saw me yesterday, I think. I'm head of product development and product management here for JobRouter. I'm not here alone. I have Stefan with me, who will take care of any and all questions that you may have. So if there's something that you want to know, just write it into the chat and he will take care of it. So as I mentioned, just two parts, actually, my presentation, just a quick introduction of what is JobMind powered by Parashift, and then most of the time will be a live demo just to show you how it works and what you can do with it. So the module JobMind powered by Parashift is part of the JobMind family, which has existed for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe even more. And it always dealt with document recognition. We had a couple of different versions of JobMind, like JobMind Head, JobMind Bauer, JobMind Items, JobMind Cloud. Now the newest member of this family is JobMind powered by Parashift. And it's powered by Parashift because it's based on Parashift, and Parashift is a provider for AI-based extraction of documents, data from documents. They are based in Switzerland, and we met them last year, and we liked them. We looked at the product, of course, we liked them, and then sometime in the middle of last year, we decided to cooperate, to do an integration, and to offer this integration to our customers. Parashift itself is a cloud native solution, so it's not something you can install on-prem. It's hosted in the cloud, so you don't have to do anything. You just have to acquire a cloud tenant, a cloud instance, and then you can already start. And it's very easy to integrate into JobRouter workflows. Why is something that I will show you in a minute. What's the USP of Parashift? Because there are many providers for intelligent document processing out there. Parashift is one of them. What they have as a unique selling point is, number one, they are not focused on a specific document class. So for example, a lot of these providers, they are very good with invoices and financial documents, but they can't do anything else, or they are specialized in, I don't know, HR documents, but they can't do anything else. Parashift is not specialized in any document class. Instead, they have a portfolio of about, I think currently about 400 different document classes that they support, and you can even define your own. So based on whatever document you have, if it has a layout that it's kind of repeatable, you can get Parashift. You can train Parashift to extract the data and then also learn where the data is and continue extracting it. Parashift itself is using some large language models in the backend, so it's AI-based, the whole data extraction. It's using large language models in the backend, and it also has the option to train documents, to train the extraction, manually train documents. They have two types there, two features. One is called document swarm learning. The other one is one-touch learning. They are both based on training. Document swarm learning is basically the swarm intelligence of multiple customers, multiple people who are using the platform, especially if it comes to structured documents, official documents, invoices, for example, but also any kind of other documents, vehicle registrations. If multiple customers are processing them, the layout is pretty much the same. So if one customer invests time to train a certain document class, other customers can profit from it because they don't have to necessarily do it themselves. There's like a intelligent base training data that everyone profits from. That's the swarm learning. But then on the other hand, you can also specifically for your document types, each customer can specifically train document types for themselves. That's what's called one-touch learning. So those are the two kinds of trainings that can be done with ParaShift, and they all count towards better recognition of documents, of document data, and even like improval of recognition over time. The more you keep training them, the more ParaShift is learning. So it's quite an intelligent system. Based on this integration, based on ParaShift, we have created our own module called JobMind powered by ParaShift, which is basically a service that's using ParaShift to extract data from documents, and it contains, for now, a system activity that you can just plug into your workflow. You can use it for data extraction and data classification. There are more features to come, but those are the two that we have currently, extraction and classification. There's, of course, since still most documents that are handled in JobRouter are invoice documents and other P2P documents like delivery notes, credit notes, and so on. So we do have some extra functionality also on top of ParaShift to specifically handle these types of documents. For example, we have a function to recognize vendor numbers and recipient numbers, because those are normally not on an invoice. Instead, they are in your master data. On the invoice, you have the address and the name. In your master data, you have the actual vendor number that you need if you want to do something with that data later on, send it to your ERP system, for example. So JobRouter can go to the master data and recognize these numbers for you. And we also have support for JobMind Bau, which is another module in JobRouter. It's specifically for construction invoices. Comes with a viewer where you can open that invoice and make some changes and stuff. So it's a German thing, I think, mostly. But the integration that we have here also comes with the ParaShift integration, also comes with support for JobMind Bau. So on top of ParaShift, we are also adding some additional features. And that's it for the slides. I think it's best if I just show you how it works. Makes the most impression. So I will start up JobRouter. And we will start with classic invoice recognition. So there's two parts. One of is the recognition part. The other one is the classification part. I will start with the recognition part. And as you can see, these are the system activities. So just one system activity that we have for ParaShift. You can just plug it into your workflow like you do with any other system activity. And it works like this. There's a couple of functions you can choose from. For now, we will focus on this middle option group called data extraction by document class. And here you have a number of document classes listed. There's about 10 of them, I think. Those are just the document classes enabled in this ParaShift tenant, because I mentioned earlier that ParaShift supports about 400 of those. We do not have all of those 400 in our list. It's based on the ParaShift tenant that's connected to JobRouter and what kind of document classes you actually have enabled for this tenant. And these are listed here. So the advantage is if you have new document classes that you create yourselves or that we create for you, or just changes to existing document classes, you don't need to update JobRouter. You don't need to update this system activity. All the data is retrieved automatically when you open this activity. So if a new document class comes in, you will just open the activity again and you will find it in your list and you can use it. So that's quite easy to integrate with JobRouter. In this case now, I have selected a document class called JR Invoice. It's one that we have created based on a standard document class from ParaShift. It handles invoices, as the name says, and the configuration is quite easy. I will not go into detail about every parameter you can set. Mostly what you need is a document, of course, like a PDF document that you will send to ParaShift to extract the data. And then you have a set of output fields that are defined in the document class itself. So again, that's retrieved automatically from ParaShift. So if new fields are coming in, you can just open the configuration again and you will see the new output parameters. And it's basically the field sets, the fields that you have defined in ParaShift for the invoice document class, like the invoice sender, the invoice receiver, some general invoice data like the invoice date, invoice number, and such. Some line item data, the amounts, the line items themselves with articles, article number, and stuff like this. Amounts by tax rate. This is basically the configuration of the document class. An invoice could have different fields. It's based on your document class. A document class can have other fields as well, but this is the one that we ship JobRouter with. And just like in any other system activity, you just map the available fields to your process data, like the invoice number. You can connect to a process table field called invoice number. And when the activity is executed, all the data will be written into those table fields, table and subtable, and then you can just use them in your workflow, display them in a form, and so on. So you know how it works. It's the same principle as with all the other system activities we have. I will show you how this works in a simulation. So I will upload a document. I will use a Google invoice. So I know it's an invoice, so I will send it to the invoice step. So it's now currently here, step 30, invoice. And it's now waiting for ParaShift to actually do the extraction, the handling of the document, the extraction of the document. And since I have activated training for this document, I will go back to the configuration. Those are some fields I haven't mentioned. So we have some extra checkboxes here that are now relevant for the demonstration. So one is called manual document validation, which means that this document should be validated by a person in ParaShift. There's two options here. You can manually validate a document, or you can just have a black box extraction of data. Then nobody has to do anything. Data is just extracted by ParaShift itself. But if you want to do a manual validation, if you want to improve recognition, you can basically check this checkbox, and you can also check the training checkbox, which means that the manual validation that you do actually goes into the training data of ParaShift for this document class, which is why this document is not going through JobRouter automatically. Instead, I should be able to see it in ParaShift now. It's this one that I just sent in. This is the invoice type, the invoice class I have used, pp invoice de, and the status is currently extraction validation. So I can go here to extraction, and I will open the ParaShift verifier, basically, or validator. And here the user can actually check the data that ParaShift has extracted and confirm or change it. So I will just do that quickly. We don't go too much into the details. So this is the sender address. Hasn't found the house number because there is no house number on this address. The postal code, to be honest, I don't know how Irish postal codes are working, but let's just assume it's 2. These are the line items. if I click here, it will show me the line items it has recognized. So there are 2 of them. Quantity is 4, amount matches as well. So we will just confirm this. Then we have amounts by tax rate. So this is not 100% correct. So the net amount is okay. Tax amount is okay as well. The total amount is missing. I can just click this and it will copy the total amount and remember also the location of this total amount into this field. Now I can confirm this. The second row is a dummy row. It wasn't recognized correctly. That's something that ParaShift will learn. The more of these documents you train, it will eventually learn that this is not a line. It should actually process. So I will just delete this for now. Confirm this, forgot to confirm this. Then some more amounts, net amount, tax amount, gross amount is okay. Payment due date is not correct. We don't have a payment due date on that document. So we will just clear this and confirm, and we are finished. So there's some stuff. Most of the information was actually already extracted correctly. I did some changes here. If I do this a couple of times, ParaShift will eventually learn that the changes I do are actually the correct way to extract the data from this type of invoice. And then the next time it will just extract the data automatically. I don't have to do anything. So this is going through now. It will take maybe a second or 2 to be recognized in JobRouter. No, it's already done, finished. So I can just click on send. And if I check the document data, we'll just open this. If I check the document data, this is just a dummy form to show you what has been extracted. So it extracted recipient data, vendor data, invoice items, invoice amounts. So that's just what we saw in ParaShift as well. And that's with the training. I can also put some documents through without training. In that case, it would be kind of a black box processing. I don't have to do anything. I will just upload my invoice to ParaShift, and a couple of seconds later, whatever ParaShift is extracted itself will be returned to JobRouter. So that's the first use case. And as you may have noticed here, I explicitly stated what kind of document class I want to have processed. In that case, it's an invoice. The other step is basically a construction invoice, so kind of the same, but just some additional fields and field set. It's just a different type of document class with different training data, some different fields, as you can see here, a lot more fields for the line items. So that depends on the document class, what you see here. And in that case, for that workflow, since I explicitly state what kind of document class this document has, I need to know, of course, what the document class is. And as I mentioned yesterday, we have a new feature that we introduced in 25.1. So for this, I will close this, go to the other workflow. We have a new feature called classification, because in real life, if you get a document, for example, you get an email with a document attached, you rarely know what the document type is. You can get any kinds of emails, unless you have an email account that just says, I don't know, my invoices, then most likely you only get invoices to that email. But you could have like a generic email account, office@mycompany.com or something, and that could receive multiple different document types. Or even if you have your normal paper mail that comes in and someone unpacks it, puts it on a scanner, and sends it to a JobRouter workflow, you don't know, unless you manually sort the documents, you don't know what kind of document you will get. So you can't just send it to ParaShift and say, please extract this invoice data, because it's possible it's not an invoice. So for this, ParaShift has a function called classification. And in 25.1, we have actually added this function to JobRouter. And classification works like this. So here's where the other 2 option groups come into play. So in JobRouter, there's then 2 functions that you need. One is called classification. The other one is retrieval of extraction results. the classification is basically, it's very simple. You upload the document. Again, you just attach a document that you have in your workflow. You upload a document, and what you get as a result is the unique ID of this document in ParaShift and the document class. So that would be, for example, PP invoice.de or PP construction invoice or something. That's the document class. It will be returned to you, and you can use that to control your workflow, which is what I have done here. So I have the classification, and then basically my rule says if it's PP invoice, then go to step 30. If it's construction invoice, go to step 35. So that's the way you can control your workflow, just by extracting the document class. And then the next step is more or less the same as what we have seen in the other workflow. The difference is that here we also, this is the retrieval of extraction results. We have the same document classes that we have in data extraction. And the difference here is that we don't need to supply the document again, because ParaShift already knows the document. And honestly, you already paid for the document to be uploaded to ParaShift, so it doesn't make sense to upload it again. It will just cost you more money. So what you can do is you can, from the first step, from the classification, you got an ID. You got the ID of that ParaShift, of that document in ParaShift, unique ID. And you can just supply this as an input, and you can say, please retrieve the invoice data from this ParaShift, from this document with that ParaShift ID. And the output is the same as we have seen before. It's the output fields from the document class. And that's the way you can define your workflow. So you have two steps instead of one. One is classification, and then the other one is the actual extraction. Of course, you could also start a new workflow. You could have like one input workflow, one incoming mail workflow that just does the classification, nothing else. And then based on the document type, you could start the invoice approval workflow. You could start the, I don't know, the order management workflow. You could start a vehicle registration workflow, whatever kind of document type you want to process, or you could just do it in the same workflow. And again, I can show you how this works. This time I won't use the training option. Of course, the classification can also be trained, because especially for invoices, my example with invoice and construction invoice, they are very similar. So at the beginning, it could be that ParaShift thinks it's an invoice, but actually you say, no, it's a construction invoice. That's also something that can be trained and validated. So I will just use the same invoice again. Send it. So that will take some time now. So it's currently in the classification step. It will take some time. If I go to ParaShift, it will arrive in a minute. So that's my document. You can see status is currently pending. It's doing different steps now. So it might take some minutes until it is finished. Meanwhile, I can show you another feature that kind of comes along with this classification part. Because as I mentioned here, once you do the classification, you get the document ID back from ParaShift, and then you just supply the document ID to this step where you extract the data. And that actually comes in handy when you do some proof of concept, some initial workflow design, and you don't want to, when you simulate, you don't want to keep sending documents to ParaShift. You just want to keep working with the results. What you can do is you can have like an extra entry point like this one here that just takes a document ID, and you could have like a prepared document already in ParaShift, and you can keep using that data from that document to fill your workflow with data. You don't have to send the same document to ParaShift again and again and again, because of course, again, it costs money. You can just use that document ID and supply your workflow with this. And the document ID can also be found in ParaShift. So I had one prepared here somewhere, this one. I've uploaded this manually even. So I can find the document ID here. That's the one I need. And if I go back to my workflow here, I just supply the document ID, click on send. And in that case, I don't even have to wait because that data has already been extracted. That document is just sitting there in ParaShift. So I don't have to wait, maybe only 10 seconds. Click on send. And then the data is extracted because the extraction data already exists. I don't have to wait until the document goes through again. So that's the extracted data from my, in that case, it was a construction invoice, extracted data that I have here. And for example, I don't know if any of you know this JobMindBau module, but since this is a construction invoice document class, and for construction invoices, this module JobMindBau is actually relevant. We also create this, we have this JobMindBau integration where you can just then open the JobMindBau viewer and it will tell you these are the extracted information. This is what was on the document, and then you can just, you know, change the amounts or the quantity and stuff like this and do changes on the invoice. As I mentioned, it's a mostly a German thing, but that's the integration with JobMindBau I also wanted to show you. So that's a very quick way of testing ParaShift in your workflows by just using an existing document ID that ParaShift has already used and extracted, or you could have like 10 different documents in ParaShift and then test your workflow based on those documents. It's a very easy way to test. So meanwhile, I think the other document that was in classification should be finished. So if I go back here, that was my latest Google invoice. Status is done. Nothing to do, no extraction because I didn't check the training data, and the invoice, the document class was invoice pp invoice.de. That's the one that it was recognized. So I will go here, classification. Classification is done. And these are my rules that were executed. So as you can see, the document type, the document class that was extracted was pp invoice.de. And that's how I could control my workflow to actually go to the correct extraction step, which is this one. And now it can go and extract the actual invoices. Since the classification and the extraction were done at the same time, I can also just move this one forward and get the extracted data as well, which is this one. So that's my Google invoice. So that's mostly how the ParaShift integration works. So you have the classification, you have the extraction of data, you can have multiple document classes. There are about 10 that we supply at first if you start with this integration, but more could be added by yourself, by us, by ParaShift. It depends, could be project specific. There is no real limit to the kinds of document classes that ParaShift can handle. So most of you will most likely start with invoices because that's like 90% of our workflows are invoice extraction. But looking at the future especially and electronic invoices, the need for invoice extraction will go back, and then ParaShift can still do like 399 other document classes. So it's really an investment into the future and a possibility to do more than just invoice processing or P2P workflows. And that's it for the live demo. I also don't have any more slides because the live demo was the end of my presentation. Let me find the Zoom window again. Okay, there it is. So there's my Zoom window again. I will stop sharing so you can see me in full. Were there any questions that Stefan couldn't answer? Unlikely, but possible.
No, there was one question that was answered, but as it was sent only to us, I will still read it for other participants. Maybe it could be interesting for them too. So the question was, when ParaShift saves a document, how long is this saved on their server? So answer from Stefan was that it is saved per default for 90 days, but it is possible to change this time to lower it this amount if necessary. And of course, you can always manually delete the documents that you don't want to be stored on the server of PowerShift. So I believe there were nothing else. Yeah. So I will still share my screen and show a few more slides to finish our today's webinar. So first of all, of course, all participants will receive the slides to this webinar as PDF file and also link to the recording of this webinar. Probably it will happen tomorrow in the morning, but that will definitely happen soon. One more thing, if you haven't been with us yesterday or just don't know about that, we have a corporate newsletter that you can get access to or subscribe to. We share there all the information about all the events that we have, all the webinars that are planned, or just new blog posts that we have prepared for you, or anything else going on in JobRouter world. So you can use this QR code to subscribe or just a link that I shared in the chat as well. And there were not so many questions today, actually, but if you have some questions later on, or you will show the presentation slides or recording to your colleagues and they will have some questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Here you have my email address. Just write your question or feedback to me and we will be happy to answer to you. And the last thing that I would like to say is, of course, thank you for your participation today. And if you have been with us yesterday, it was really nice to have you with us. And we wish you a nice evening or day, depending on where you are right now. And just have a nice time. So thank you very much to everyone. And goodbye.
Bye bye. Have a nice afternoon.